you and I were talking, and you had actually prepared
a bill,
an immigration bill,
right?
the kind that Congress would pass.
I'm not sure it would be the kind that Congress.
Well,
mine was
right.
short.
Right. Okay, but that was the idea, right?
The idea was to take a look at the immigration system and try to fix it,
Right.
Without making life complicated.
Right.
And I actually had the thought, and I think it was back in 2005 when Bush was looking for amnesty, and
right.
I think there was a Gang of 8, which included McCain and Lindsey Graham, and I'm not sure Rubio. I think Rubio got involved with those guys at some point in time, which I think was a mistake on his part.
Right.
But there was a bunch of them that we're gonna solve this immigration and give everybody amnesty.
Right.
And that was Bush's idea. And so you have to think about it. And I was not in favor of blanket amnesty.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I wasn't in favor of amnesty at all. But I got older. And if you look at the country today, I mean, if you turn on television today, sometime today, they're going to show you New Jersey in front of an ICE detention center, and you're going to have mobs of people disturbing the peace and actually committing crimes,
right,
and not being punished for it or not paying a penalty for committing those crimes.
Right.
The Democratic politicians in the state of New Jersey, which is full of them, are encouraging that type of behavior. And I think they're really looking to get somebody killed, like happened in Minnesota. And so it's an immigration issue. We've had an immigration issue back to Reagan gave
right.
amnesty to, I think, 2 or 3 million people.
Right.
We've never fixed the immigration system. So if you look at what's going on in the country today, that's almost the number one issue that's causing disruption, cost, discord in the country, etc. And so back in 2005, I had this thought, said, why don't we just say, okay, you're not going to become a citizen. However, people came here and they stayed here and they went to work and they didn't break any laws other than the one that they entered the country under.
Right.
And they had families, and some of their kids were born here and they didn't know where they came from. So right. I said, well, wait a minute. Why don't we say, okay, if you came here illegally and you haven't committed a crime, we're going to issue a blue card. And that blue card is the same as a green card. You get all the rights and privileges. If you work, you're going to pay into Social Security. You're going to be eligible for Social Security. You're in all intents and purposes, you have every right of a citizen. You can't vote.
The idea here is take the politics out of it.
Take the politics out of it. Number one. Number two, you have to be punished for violating the law. I mean, you just can't come over here, violate the law, and be rewarded.
And the punishment is you can't vote.
You can't vote. Of course, even back when I was against anybody getting the citizenship, I said there got to be exceptions. If you're a young guy like me and want to go serve your country and you go join the military, you spend 3 years, 4 years, whatever, and you got out, you're honorably discharged, I think you're committed. You can get a citizenship. And you could look at that for police force and pick certain professions. You say, if you're serving the community, then you can become a citizen. Because you care about the community, you want to aid and abet what's growing in the company. So, okay. So I sent that to some people and never got a response.
Do you know who you sent them to?
I know I sent to Rubio because I was mad at Rubio for joining the Gang of 8 or right. whatever it was. Well, I don't know what year that was.
Did you get a thank you letter?
I never got anything back.
Send it to anybody in Texas?
Well, so time passes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, AI comes along. And again, we're going through this drill. We're going to round up everybody and deport them. We're going to start with the criminals. We've just gone through a period where we've left 10, 20, 30 million people come into the country. We don't know where the heck they're at.
Right.
And we have sanctuary cities. And the reason for sanctuary cities is because in those states, they said, well, if you don't give them sanctuary, they won't report crimes. And we don't want anybody being muted about committing crimes in our country. So we're going to give them sanctuary. They will not be deported. They will not be harassed. You can report a crime and you're safe. Well, it turned out to be a whole lot more than that. And if you followed it, we're paying for illegal health care, et cetera, et cetera. So you could go through the whole drill,
right,
and see how it's. So I said, okay, AI's around now. So now I have the idea there has to be several buckets. There has to be a bucket for the people who came here before 2020, before we opened the gates and everybody came in. And that bucket goes back to what I had originally planned.
Right.
No crimes, good citizen, worked all your life, get a blue card.
You get all the other rights.
You get all the rights, you can't vote.
You just can't vote. All right.
Okay.
All right.
And so then I said, and now we're talking, if you're listening to all the stuff about where AI is going and the type of skills we need to help build these AI data centers and maintain them, et cetera,
right,
et cetera. Well, some of these folks who came before 2020 have a lot of those skills.
Right.
Especially in Texas, if you look around, most construction is being done by people of Hispanic descent.
Right.
And whether they're legal or not, who knows?
Right.
I mean, you know that a lot of them are not legal because they're young men that can't speak English. But then there's the group that came after that where they were let in.
Right.
And my bucket for those people, you have to leave. Are there exceptions? There'll be exceptions. Do we have a skill set? Do you have a skill set this country needs? And all the other things are you haven't committed any crimes, then you could be an exception to the rule and join that group of people who are going to get blue cards. Not be able to vote,
right,
but you'll have all the privilege because we need you in the country. Okay, so we have a skill that we need. We'll keep you in the country. Now, what's that do? That raises their salaries because now they're legal and they're not going to be taken advantage of. You have to pay their Social Security, you have to pay their health care,
right.
you have to do. So that raises the prices. So now more people will get involved. And there'll be less people that have to go on welfare because we're making better money. And then I created another bucket that it said, what if you come from a country and you don't want to assimilate into the United States? You know, as a matter of fact, you hate the United States. Well, in my bill, you have to go home. Now, does that mean everybody who is one of those groups has to go home? No, because there's probably thousands of people in those groups who want to be here,
right,
and want to contribute.
Right.
But the problem is, how do you figure that out?
Right.
And if you look around, use Minnesota as an example, you have a community that's been painted with a very bad paintbrush,
right,
called the Somalian
right.
group. Yeah, how many of those guys are fraudulent? And if you listen, you say they're all fraudulent.
Right.
I've been around the world. That's not a true statement.
Right.
So the problem now is, if you're come to this country, you've committed a crime, you're advocating changing the laws or doing away with our customs and traditions, you have to go home. You have to leave the country. Now that's going to be hard to write into a bill, but my bill had it. If you're somebody who didn't want to assimilate in the country, go home. I mean, I made it simple.
Did you send that bill to anybody?
Send it to Ted Cruz.
Did you get a letter from him?
I got a canned letter, didn't say anything.
Did it thank you?
I mean, now it's, these guys don't thank you. I'm busy.
Yeah.
So he lost all kinds of credibility with me. Uh, and if you listen to the news,
Right.
there's a large portion of the Republican Party that doesn't want anybody to stay here. They want to deport everybody. And so I'm having a conversation with AI. He said, hey, we can write a congressional bill. And I said, well, there's a lot of constitutional issues in here. How do we address those? And he said, well, I'll address them. So he took what we had been built together. He put it together in a format, my idea, his format. And okay, let's try this. So he came back and gave 4 or 5 constitutional issues. I said, okay, let's fix these. And one of the fixes was you can become a citizen if you have a blue card, but there's a penalty. And the penalty can be 5 or 15 years. So if you get a green card, you can get a citizenship in 5 years.
Right.
With the blue card, 10 years, 15, whatever the penalty should be.
No
And
voting for 15 years.
no voting for 15
whatever
years,
that time period
whatever
is.
that time period is. But you're a guy who's in a family that goes to work. Where are you going to send them? And I mean, that to me, and like I said, I'd be the first guy that says you have to go home. But on the other hand, some of these guys are productive members of our communities.
Right.
Why would I want to send them home? I join the crowd, be an American. Good for you. Your kids are going to be like our kids. And the only people that shouldn't be that way is the people who were evacuated from Afghanistan were never vetted, just brought into the country by the thousands.
Right.
You got to round them up and send them home. I mean, can there be exceptions? Yeah, but everybody has to be an exception. So how do you make that happen? You have 90 days, 6 months. Everybody who's here illegally must register. And I would take it a step further. I would give everybody who's illegal a driver's license that's also blue. So if I stop you and you show me a blue driver's license, I know you're registered.
Right.
And if I stop you and you can't speak English and you can't show me a blue driver's license or a blue card, goodbye. You're going home. Everybody's registered. Okay. If you're not a citizen, you don't count towards the census. You're not going to add to the locations you're at. You can't vote. So you're taking the politics out of the system. You don't have sanctuary cities.
Which means those guys have absolutely zero interest at this point.
Right.
If they can't have a political benefit from it, they don't give a shit about it.
That's the whole system. They don't want to fix the problem, Jim.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Social Security. I told you this a little bit ago. If you did Social Security, started at $60,000, contributed 5% of your money to your 401k, etc., and retired at 67, you have $1.6 million. If your wife had a similar experience, you got $3.2 million. You don't need Social Security.
Right.
Okay? But then I can't be corrupt. How am I going to get rich? I heard the Speaker of the House say the other day, well, the poor guys in Congress haven't had a raise since 2009. They make $174,000 a year. They get $3 million a year to pay staff.
How do they make it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it must be hard. And I don't know how much they get for their own personal expense reports. But he said, oh, okay, they shouldn't be able to say trade stock, but they're having a hard time. How about you get nothing? How about you get your expenses? You're a public servant. Join the Army in 1955. See how much money you make.
$100 a month?
No.
Not even that much.
No, $79.
$79 a month.
So, give me a break.
They take taxes out of that?
Yeah.
Out of the 79?
Yeah, hell yeah. You never, you don't make a penny without paying taxes. But so nobody's interested in fixing. Is my model the answer? Yeah, I think you could modify it. I think you could have certain buckets prior to this
Right.
date, prior to this date. If you're in this group of people and you're not assimilating into the community, you have to leave. I mean, that's not hard. It's hard to say because this is their life over here.
Right.
All right. So I understand people's thought process, but if you're here to hate the country, you want to have Muslim city and you're going to have Sharia law, goodbye. Okay. Or you'll be having the war that they had, the Bosnian War, 10, 15 years from now.
Right.
So clean up their act. And oh, guess what? No illegal kids in school, no illegals getting health care, no illegals drawing welfare checks. Guess what? You're going to reduce the cost. And the people who are actually citizens and contributing to the society, blue card, green card, citizen,
Right.
you get the benefits. You get to reap the benefits. You have to do away with chain migration. I'm not bringing your family here. And they have to go back to what mom had to do when she came here.
Right.
You're going to have a sponsor. Yeah. You're not coming here and live off the
refresh our recollection about what mom had to do, because you married her. She was 17 or 18.
Yeah.
She's German.
Right.
All right. What did she have to do before she could come over here, even though she's married to you?
Right. We had to get a sponsor. I had to get, my parents, Pete and my mother, sponsored her. That they'll pay her bills if she runs into healthcare issues. She had a sponsor, and I'm not sure that that's not the case for people coming here legally today.
So your mom had to sign an affidavit or something
swearing
that she would sponsor.
Yeah, we had to have these documents to get the green card to get her to come over here, to get her to come with me to the United States. But like I said, what does Congress do? What does the judicial system do? The judicial system, based on what political party you're in, you make a ruling based on your political affiliation. That's not the way it was set up. In Congress, they're supposed to oversee the rest of the government, every element of the federal government. What have I ever seen? Let's look at the fraud and corruption. Yeah. I mean, people say, well, go get those Somalians or go get those guys and those Russian guys or Armenian guys or whoever's stealing our money. Go arrest the congressman.
Yeah.
They failed to do their duty. You get court-martialed in the Army when I went in if you were that inefficient.
Stockade
time, bad time.
Wow.
But they're not going to do anything. You just forget it.
We'll end on that.